Welcome to the Paper Trail. And today's episode, we're going to talk about the real cost of owning a car in Kenya, what the dealer never tells you. And before we start, kindly consider subscribing to our YouTube channel so that you don't get to miss the amazing episodes that are yet to come. Okay, in Kenya, a car is just not for transport. In Kenya, a car is a symbol. A symbol of what? It says, I made it. I am someone. And the car industry knows this better than anyone. They know it and they use it. The average Kenyan who buys a car on financing thinks about just one number. When you go to buy a car on financing, there's only one number that you'll always just be thinking about: the monthly installment. And the question you ask yourself is, can I afford 15,000 a month? 20, 30,000? If yes, then I go ahead and sign. What they don't calculate, what nobody shows them, is the total number. Not the monthly, not the installment, the total number. We'll get to that number. And when we do, it will change how you look at every car you've ever wanted. Let's start with the purchase price. A decent second-hand Japanese import lands at the port at roughly 1 to 1.2 million shillings after duty and clearance. Let's just take a normal just car, 1.2, 1.4 million shillings. At the showroom, the same car is priced at 1.3 to 1.5 million, just a margin of 200,000. The buyer sees the sticker, 1.4 million? They don't have 1.4 million. So they go to the financing desk. And that is where the real transaction begins. A typical car loan. We are starting the finance trap. A typical car loan in Kenya runs at roughly 18 to 24% per annum. Some banks and SACCOs offer slightly lower. Some digital lenders go much higher. But let us use 20% as our working number because it is common and because the math that follows will disturb you. You borrow 1.2 million shillings at 20% interest for 4 years. Your monthly installment approximately 36,000 shillings. Over 4 years, that is 48 payments. 48 multiplied by 36,000, 1.7 million shillings. You borrowed 1.2. You paid back 1.7. That is 500,000 shillings in interest alone on a car. 500,000 shillings. But we are not done, because the car itself is not a static asset. It is a depreciating one. Every year you own it, it loses value. 1.4 million shilling car loses roughly 15 to 20% of its value per year in the Kenyan used car market. In year one alone, it loses up to 280,000 shillings in value, just sitting. By the time you finish paying the loan in year 4, the car you paid 1.7 million for is worth roughly 670,000 shillings if we are not so brutal about it. You paid 1.7 million. The asset in your driveway is worth 600,000. The difference, 1.1 million. And I'm being this aggressive so that you can see the math. 1.1 million is gone, consumed into the bank's profit, into depreciation, into nothing. And we haven't added insurance. We have not added insurance. The hidden costs nobody mentions. Here we go. Comprehensive insurance on a 1.4 million shilling car, roughly 60 to 80,000 shillings per year. Over 4 years, up to 320,000 shillings. Service and maintenance, oil changes, brake pads, tires, belts, co- conservatively 40,000 shillings per year. Over 4 years, 160,000. Parking. If you work in Nairobi CBD or Westlands, 5 to 10,000 per month. Over 4 years, up to 480,000 shillings. For a car you've not finished financing. Get that. Now let's go to the fuel. The average Kenyan driver covers roughly 1,500 kilometers per month. At current fuel prices and assuming 15 kilometers per liter, roughly 10 to 12,000 shillings per month in fuel over 4 years, up to 576,000 shillings. Are you writing this down? Because I want to add it up for you right now. Loan repayment, 1.7 million. Insurance, 320,000. Maintenance, 160,000. Parking, 480,000. Fuel, 576,000. Total 4-year cost of owning that car, approximately 3.2 million shillings. 3.2. For a car, worth 600,000 at the end of it. That is not a car. That is a financial decision that cost you 2.6 million shillings net. And most people make it without a single calculation. What does the dealer not show you? Here's what the dealer doesn't show you. The car dealer's job is to sell cars, not to protect your finances. Understanding this changes everything about how you walk into that showroom. Here is what a good dealer will never volunteer. 1, the on-the-road price is negotiable. The sticker price is the starting point, not the final price. Especially on used imports, there is always a margin built in for negotiation. Most buyers never negotiate because they feel grateful just to be approved for financing. More money for the dealer. You are not lucky to be approved. They need your business. Negotiate. 2, the loan tenure affects total cost dramatically. Dealers push longer tenures because lower monthly payments close deals faster. But as we saw, a longer tenure means more total interest paid. Always ask what the total repayment figure is, not just the monthly installment. 3, the deposit changes everything. A larger deposit means a smaller loan principal, which means less interest over the term. Even an extra 100,000 shillings as deposit can save you 200,000 in total repayments. Small basic maths. 4, your insurance options are not limited to what the dealer offers. Dealers often have arrangements with specific insurers and earn commissions on referrals. You are entitled to shop your own insurance. The difference can be 50,000 shillings or more annually. 50,000 shillings a year, every year, just from shopping your own insurance instead of using the dealer's guide. 5, second-hand cars from private sellers are almost always cheaper than showroom prices for the unit. The showroom price includes margins that private sellers don't carry. With proper inspection, a trusted mechanic, a logbook check at NTSA, private purchases can save you 100 to 200,000 shillings on the same vehicle. Now, the smartest way to buy a car. None of this means you should never buy a car. It means you should buy one intentionally. Here's the framework. Rule 1, buy with cash if you possibly can. The entire loan interest cost disappears. If you cannot buy with full cash, make the largest deposit you can manage and take the shortest loan tenure your cash flow supports. 2. Buy a car below your means. The car that impresses people costs you twice in purchasing price and in operating cost. A car that is reliable, fuel efficient, and cheap to maintain is a financial asset. A car that looks expensive is usually a financial liability. In Kenya, we have a saying, the car outside the house is nicer than the house, and that should concern us. Rule 3. Calculate the total cost before you commit. Not the monthly installment, the total. Loan repayment plus insurance plus maintenance plus fuel plus parking. That number over 4 years is what the car actually costs you. If it exceeds your budget, the car is too expensive, regardless of what the monthly payment looks like. So it means always, always calculate the full total upfront. Okay. Rule 4. A car is a depreciating asset. It should never be the largest financial commitment in your life. If you are spending more on a car than on investments, savings, or your home, your priorities are inverted. Rule 5. If you need a car for business and it generates income, the calculation changes. A car that earns you money is a tool. A car that only costs you money is a toy. Know which one you are buying, a tool or a toy. That question alone will save you some of you from a very expensive mistake. What to do with this information? If you already own a car on financing, this document is not here to make you feel bad. It is here to make your next decision better. If you have a loan running, two things you can do right now. First, check if your loan has a prepayment penalty. If it doesn't, every extra shilling you pay against the principal reduces the total interest you will pay. Even an extra 5,000 shillings per month can cut months off your loan and save you tens of thousands. Second, review your insurance. Call 2 or 3 insurers and get quotes. If you find something significantly cheaper for the same cover, switch at renewal. The money you save goes back into your pocket. Small moves, but compounded over a long term, they matter. If you are planning to buy a car, take this document with you, literally print it. Since with a calculator before you sit with a dealer, know your total cost number before you walk in and negotiate on the car price, the deposit, the tenure, the insurance. If you decide not to buy or to delay, here is what is interesting. The money you would have spent on loan, repayments, insurance, fuel, and parking invested consistently over 4 years will grow into something significant. Just assume if you were to pay a monthly payment of 30,000 in a period of 4 years and you change your mind, take that 30,000 and save in a fixed income fund. Over 4 years, that amount will be different. Cars are not the enemy. Ignorance about what cars actually cost, that is the enemy. That line right there is why I started the paper trail, because nobody sat us down and showed us these numbers. Nobody printed it out and said, look, before you sign, look at what this actually costs. This is what this show is. Every Tuesday, every Thursday, I will sit here with something printed, something about money, about systems, about how things actually work, and we will read it together. Today, we was cards. Next, we talk about loans. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And if today changed how you think about that car you've been looking at, share with one person who needs to hear it. I am Shak Z, and this is the Paper Trail. See you next week.